shot full of arrows, they had no choice but to leave them behind. Trying to place thick branches behind the wheel for the track, and I got the mud to keep on the road behind. They were pressing them on the road, just run them over. This was their best chance at escape, and they ditched it without a second glance. If we really had to abandon the vehicle, I would have at least covered my footprints with leaves and branches and create a false attraction in the opposite direction to lead them away if they find a car. But there's another reason this was a terrible mistake, and that's the bullying. Running around the woods is only going to agitate it and slow the food down massively. This thing could get infected, and it needs to be treated before the infection spreads to the bloodstream, so we need to find a way to get help as quickly as we can. I would break off their rear view mirrors and use them to signal any airplanes passing overhead. If they spot the light being flashed, they can radio it in with proper authorities and get us help. West Virginia has the highest flyover traffic in all U.S. states, so odds are good if an airplane will be passing by. To do that effectively, you want to find a clear, flat area that's high up, as you'll have a better chance of being spotted. Combine this by employing the International Mountain Distress Signal and arranging rocks in a triangle, you'll be in a better position to signal a plane for help. Later, Christian really walks into a bear trap as it snaps closed and gets pulled into the air. We can't take anything for granted now. Even walking forward is a risk. But if we can predict where they're going to be, we can use their own trap against them. And there's no better place than this watchtower. Now, it's a terrible idea to hide it. As a shelter, it's easy to find, and it's also exactly why they would look for us here. I would climb up to look out the window and get my bearings of the surrounding environment, so I know the best direction to travel. They'll leave a flashlight in the window and the bear trap in front of the ladder covered in leaves. This could both injure them and lure them with a decoy while I stay on the ground miles away. They climb up to find a clear view of the West Virginia mountain range, and it's a view of complete hopelessness, because there's not a road or town in sight. This girl finds a first aid kit and treats the med suit's leg wound, while the other girl finds a tube of glow sticks and an old radio, which they use to try calling for help, but a burst of static alerts the cannibals to their location. Okay, this was a rookie mistake. The forests of West Virginia have zero light pollution, so light from anywhere will be easily spotted, and that's the last thing you want when you're running from cannibals. So we're going to need to see in the dark, and luckily, there's a way to do that. Night vision mostly relies on the rod cells in your eyes, which are more sensitive to low light. By applying pressure to them, you can quickly adapt to the dark, because this reactivates a chemical called dioxin, which your rod cells use to see at night. It's a simple technique that's so effective that even special forces units deploy when they're operating on night missions. Just be careful not to look at anything too, as this will bleach the rhodopsin, integrating the a voice on the radio asks where they are. They get home and the killers are trying to break in. Then the radio's cord gets taken down as they realize the brothers have killed their last line of communication and are burning down the watchtower. They realize their only option left is to jump. Okay, this is a terrible idea, but if I had to choose between being burned alive, butchered by cannibals, or risk falling to my death trying to escape, it's an easy decision. But it's very difficult to survive this without some preparation. Even with the fire burning, we have no clear view of the surrounding forest. I would throw one of the glow sticks into the tree. That way, I can figure out where I'm more likely to catch stable branches to prevent a deadly fall. After I know what's down there, I would aim for either a high bow or some stable bushy sections of the tree that could break my fall and help me land safely. And because we grabbed a climb rope earlier, the first person who manages to land safely below can take one end and tie it to the tree. Then the others can tie the other end to the rafters and use their tops to ride the ropes down like a zip line. They all jump out and land in the trees, but the cannibals quickly find the hikers as one of them starts climbing. Now this might seem like we're totally screwed, but it's actually the best thing that could happen. We have nowhere to run, but neither does he. And the higher he climbs, the easier he is to kill. It's also 3 against 1, so we have an important advantage here. First, I put the others hide in the canopy above, while I use the light of this phone to catch the attention of the cannibal. This will lure him towards me and focus on the others who are hiding. It gives them a better chance to ambush him, knock him off the boat, and kill him. They all begin to make their way to a nearby tree, but this girl gets her head chopped in half by a cannibal. The remaining two hikers continue their escape through the trees and set up a trap. The girl lures them closer to her so that the next day they can send them flying using a tree branch. Later that night, the remaining survivors hide up behind a waterfall where the brothers can't find them and rebandage the med student's leg wound. The cannibals won't stop hunting them, and they have no idea where to get help. Okay, we've lost their trail, but it won't be long before they find us. And we need to get back to the road and out of these woods. Navigation in the wilderness can be challenging because there's no clear landmarks to identify, but nature always has an answer. Water always flows downwards. And from this map we saw at the gas station, if this waterfall is a part of Fisher's Run, it will lead us back to the main road. I would follow it downstream, hoping to find my way back to civilization. Also, the sound of trekking through the forest will be covered by the flowing water, so even if we don't find the main road, it's the safest way to travel it. But it's not enough not to be heard. We also have to make ourselves harder to be seen. I would camouflage myself by smearing mud and wet clay over my body, as these are natural cues that don't stand out to the human eye. I would also take off anything reflective like a necklace or watch, as this can give away our position. The next day, they continue walking through the forest until they find a nearby road. But before they can reach it, they're found by the cannibals. The med student falls down the hill and the girl gets kidnapped. A policeman drives by and the med student tells them they need to go rescue the girl. But out of nowhere, an arrow pierces the cop's head. The med student jumps into the driver's seat and finds out the keys aren't in the ignition. He gets out and hides under the car as a cannibal shows up. This is can save your life. Your first instinct might be to grab the keys, but don't. I grab the gun first, as an